Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you joining us today, we welcome you in. A gray sky, a tree turning colors. It's just the image that evokes the Halloween season. Samhain, as it's called in Gaelic cultures. But one memory that we all have are those funhouse slash haunted houses that we used to go to as children. Since it's Friday, we're going to have a little bit of fun with this, and Silverlight's going to go through his experience with fun houses over the years. When I was young, in the early to mid 80s, I was in grade 4 or grade 5, I forget which, and the teachers decided the grade 4s and the grade 5s were going to put on a fun house for the kids, for the younger kids, so grades 1 to 3. So they set it up on the stage in the gymnasium. So they dimmed the lights in the gymnasium. They had it nearly pitch black inside. They had this sink full of spaghetti, which they would say, these are dried brains, and all the usual tricks you do with kids. And they had us all dressed up. Just one of the miracles that teachers manage to pull is that they react to whatever they have on that day. I was there as a vampire, early 1980s vampire makeup. I'm sure it had red food coloring number 5 and all sorts of other carcinogens in it. But two things happened that day. My job was I was one of the jump scare people. And I did it a lot. And being on the inside, I think meant that I've always seen a haunted house attraction for what it is. A bunch of actors doing the best job that they can. And the other thing is, since it was on the stage in the gymnasium, I leaned back, promptly fell off, and, whacked myself on my back right on the gymnasium floor. That might explain a lot about me. I'll let you be the judge about that. But it's an eternal memory in my head that, I was there behind the scenes scaring the other kids. So it's kind of stuck with me the whole way through. In the mid-90s, there was a place down at Niagara Falls called Screamers. And it was a haunted house, but it was all in the dark. Now, in the 1990s, I imagine they were using some kind of infrared ultraviolet technology that, they shone a spotlight. If they wore the right glasses, they could see you, because I couldn't see anything. Now, here's the problem. Silverlight is damn near blind. Yeah, I wear glasses thicker than Coke bottles. So here I was in the dark, and they told us, okay, you follow the red lights. When you come to one red light, you turn, you look for the other, you go there. That was fantastic for the first light, but I couldn't find the second light. But on my way there, I give them a lot of credit. I wasn't particularly scared. I was scared that I was going to lose my way, but I wasn't really scared of what they were doing. They did some good stuff. Like, the one thing I remember was, they were doing whispers, which is a great way to build atmosphere. People whispering beside you is, ooh, that's kind of cool. And then somebody, one of the actors or performers, whatever they chose to call themselves, had a damp paint brush and brushed it across the back of my neck and went, did that little slurping sound effect. Now, I enjoyed it. I said, this is a good presentation. I wasn't scared by it. I was scared because I couldn't find my way out. Wasn't worried about the dark, wasn't worried about the people, just like, I'm freaking lost. But I've been wondering about that paintbrush touch lately. Would that even be legal in 2021? Like, would that be considered something you would sue somebody over? Oh my God, you touched me, that's assault, etc., etc. Just an interesting memory. The weird thing about that little haunted house was, as Silverlight mentioned, he's blind and he got himself lost. But the actors slash performers didn't come up beside me and say, hey, you're in the wrong spot. You need to go back over there. Or, try to, boo, don't come this way. Anything like that to try to point me in the right direction. They let me rot. So I'm stumbling around. I eventually found my way out, and I don't even think they asked how was it. They were just, have a nice day, and that was the end of the experience. Not very terrifying, but it was an experience. Still, I'm curious about them touching you with that paintbrush. I mean, I'm sure it was clean. I'm sure I had nothing to worry about, but I can understand somebody being most upset with it happening to them. Not my perspective, but anyways. And then again, about 11 years ago, the girl that I was dating at the time wanted to go to Canada's Wonderland because they had this spooktacular event. I forget what the name it was. We had the day off. She had a couple of friends. Okay, everybody jump in my car. Let's go. Unfortunately, the rest of Toronto had the exact same idea that day. So the park was jammed. Now, parks being jammed, there's nothing new there. The problem comes when they try to funnel all those people, however many thousands of people it was, into the scare area. I don't know what to call it. Just they had a couple barns kind of set up, and it was mostly jump scares and weird things coming out at you. Silverlight's problem once again is that he's 6'3" and he knows the score. So I'm seeing, like, because there's so many people in front of us and we're waiting to get scared, I'm seeing this happen 5 minutes before we get there. And the person jumps out, and I'm trying not to laugh because I don't want to spoil it. And the girl I was dating was getting most annoyed. She's like, how is it you're not scared of anything? Because we're going slow, and it's predictable. Sorry, you're only 5 foot, but for me, it's not that big of a deal. And again, actors and performers doing the best job they possibly could. As I recall, there was a sign up that said you are not allowed to touch the performers, which I 100% agree with. And that was before the pandemic, but got a little experience of performing in costumes myself. I used to dress up as Clifford, the big red dog, and I would read to the local students. And there were always those little snots that would come up and they would say, oh, look, it's fake. I can see a zipper here. Or they'd pull my tail or all sorts of things. And over a couple of years, I tried very hard to dissuade it. But eventually, you had to have a teacher there to keep them from coming up because it's okay. Kid wants to come up, have their picture taken with you, etc. But, if one of them starts to act up and, oh, look, there's a zipper here, you need somebody to shoo them away. Back to the Scare Festival, though. People were lining up for this. Literally, there were thousands, if not tens of thousands. Now, for those of you not from the Greater Toronto area, Canada's Wonderland is gigantic. And it can handle tens of thousands. But because they were all funneling through these areas at once, it was pandemonium. I think there was more danger from the fire capacity than there was from any of the ghosts or the goblins that the performers were trying to portray. Props to them for doing it, because they're probably getting paid minimum wage or less. They weren't getting any sort of tips, and they were giving up a perfectly good night that they could be doing studying or practicing or earning more money somewhere else. So I salute their dedication. Now, what is this all about? It's called expectation. My expectation has been so fundamentally altered because having been part of it when I was young, having the experiences that I have, that I have a very high fear threshold. I'm not saying I can't be scared. God knows some things scare me. The original concept for this video was going to be the Flatwoods alien monster, but I thought we would go with something a little lighthearted and save that for Monday or Tuesday or whenever I feel like doing another video. But my expectation is I want to see a good performance, whereas other people's expectations are they want the jump scares. And I think this is the problem really with Hollywood in general, is they've forgotten how to build suspense. They've forgotten how to do anything besides jump scares and sex scenes. You don't need all that. You need good suspense. Alfred Hitchcock was the master of building something up over time. And yes, you would open the shower. The shower opens, the music starts, and the knife goes up in the air. You hear a scream. He doesn't need to show the graphic stabbing and everything. He just needs to show the hint. And that's what was taken away in each one of those fun houses, was that element of suspense. Screamers, the place at Niagara Falls, had the potential, and I can see people getting scared in there because of it, but because my immersion was ruined because of my own bad vision, and because the staff didn't choose to put me back on the right path, I was stumbling into girders and everything back there. Now, maybe they lost track of me. Maybe they hand off to somebody else and the other guy got distracted. Not trying to judge those people. It's 20 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever the heck it is now. But that's the thing. My expectations are always ruined. I don't get that chance for the build-up. And if all you have is a jump scare, pooh, ha, then you really don't have much that's scary at all. I'm not saying your particular display this year is bad. It's probably fantastic. Maybe you have, a row of serial killers, a live axe murderer, and real life aliens that are going to steal you and take you away. In which case, fantastic. I'd love to be there, see it happen. But us losing that ability to set something up is part of our society in general. Horror movies these days, like I said, it's more about the slasher aspect than it is about actually building horror up. And our casual entertainment, like you go around Halloween, it's not even close to Halloween anymore. Nobody's going around as a vampire or a witch. They're all whatever the latest fad happens to be. Whether it's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, a My Little Pony, Dora the Explorer, whatever. Don't know what kids are really into these days. I know what My Little Munchkin is into, but she's a little bit odd. Just like me. So anyways, remember that when you're setting up your Halloween decorations. Don't have them all out on your front lawn. That's just showing off you have a lot of money. If you can set it up so that something jumps out and gets somebody when they're not expecting it, that's something fantastic. Remember one house I went to when I was trick-or-treating, and it was perfect setup. I forget how old I was. I'm going to say 10 just for the sake of having an age. But I was 10, and I walked up, and the house was the woman was there giving out candy, and after she gave you the candy, there was a guy that was dressed in this perfect outfit, like it was dark and it matched the shadows. And he just jumped up and said, "Did you see me?" That was it. And he was getting screams left, right, and center. They were able to build that fear factor. I hate to give those words together, but that's what it is, to put the fear into the experience. And yeah, it's hard to sit out there all night and wait for kids to come. Yeah, they were really devoted to it, but that is way scarier and way more fun. And to this day, decades later, Silverlight remembers that and thinks that was a great house to go to. Not these blow-up decorations that move around, although I have those too. So remember, if you want a good scare, if you want a good experience, you gotta set it up. You can't just... You can't be like a porn movie and jump straight to the action. You got to give some sort of a plot and build things up. Think Alfred Hitchcock, not John Carpenter. As good as John Carpenter is, I do not want to make him bad. Or I don't want to make him feel bad in any way. His films are damn good. But Alfred Hitchcock made birds scary. In short, Halloween is a wonderful time of year, but we need to remember not only is it Samhain, but it's also the time of year when we need to make things more special. We can't leave that connection between the worlds alone. We need to make it stronger. We need to reinforce that belief, the suspense of the normalcy, because this is the doorway between seasons. And here is where we have to shine, because the more interesting that you make Halloween, the more likely somebody 20, 30 years from now is going to be having their own place and thinking, I have a great idea. I saw this once and I can do it better. That's your challenge. So anyways, have a great day. You still got a couple weeks before Halloween, and then we get into that other season, but I usually avoid talking about that. We hope you enjoyed the show today. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And we hope you have a fantastic day.